Welcome to Worth Your Time with your hosts from the nationally syndicated Bob and Tom Show, Kristi Lee, and the president and CEO of the Indianapolis Zoo, Dr. Rob Shumaker. Our mission to inform, entertain, and educate with guests from all aspects of life. We guarantee there isn't another podcast that features two hosts with such different backgrounds and discussions with remarkable people doing exceptional things. So let's get started. Here are your hosts, Kristi Lee and Dr. Rob Shumaker.
Kristi Lee.
Dr. Rob Shumaker.
It is deep in the Halloween season.
Yep.
In Indiana. Well,
all over.
Not just
in Indiana. We just happen to be sitting here in Indiana, but yeah.
And we are deep into the Halloween topics with our guest today for episode 2. We are talking to Jane Gerlach and Linda Mutchman. Fair to call you both paranormal investigators? Is that fair?
Very fair.
And film producers.
We are.
Yep. They have their own YouTube channel.
There you go. Can you just remind everybody where they can find your stuff online on YouTube?
Yeah, we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the YouTube website, but it's all under Paranormal Incidents. If you look up Paranormal Incidents, just put an underscore between the two words.
You'll find you.
Fantastic.
Easy. That's great. That's awesome. So our first episode, we talked a lot about scary places like sanitariums and Story Inn. And I want to go, first of all, we're going to switch gears to more of an intimate home situation because you, my friend, Dr. Rob Shumaker, have a wonderful story about a home that you lived in, I believe, in Des Moines. Is that correct?
It's true. I've told this story on a year ago.
Yep.
On this podcast, so
worth repeating.
So okay, I'll repeat it. So my wife and I and my 18-month-old son moved to Des Moines, Iowa, and this was how many years ago. That 18-month-old son is now almost 24. So while we were there, my daughter was born there, but we had a wonderful home, an old home that we love very much. It was a wonderful place to live, and it had that old feature of a front staircase and a back staircase. So the back staircase was in the kitchen, and the understanding is that was for historically a maid staircase, and it went to a old style construction. It had a maid's bedroom that the maid would use to go up and down from the kitchen. The front staircase was more elaborate, larger, and went up to the second floor to the master bedroom and so on. And so you would come in the front door, and the staircase was right in front of you. And adjacent to that staircase was a landing and a little powder room and just a lovely space. And our routine was that every night I would come home from work to have dinner, and I would put my son to bed. And again, like 18, 20 months old. And so we would say goodnight to mommy downstairs, say goodnight to the dog downstairs, and start to go upstairs. And I would carry him up to bed, and we'd read stories, all those kind of great things, but always in exactly the same spot on the staircase. He would turn around and look back down the staircase and look down at the stairs and wave while I was looking at the stairs and say night-night. Every night. Always. I never did that. I never showed him to do that. He was just starting to talk at that point. And it happened all the time. And then it stopped, and he stopped doing it, and I didn't know how to explain it. I just accepted it. And I was always the first person awake every morning, the first person to leave the house in the morning. And there was one morning where I was coming down the main staircase, and the layout was as I was coming down the staircase, front door directly in front, dining room on the left, living room on the right, a very big open floor plan, old kind of construction, wooden floors. And as I was coming down the staircase, I saw a little boy just walk from the living room past the staircase directly into the dining room. Didn't look at me, didn't acknowledge me, nothing. Just walking. And it wasn't an apparition in the sense of wispy or transparent or anything. It was just a little boy.
Wow.
In kind of not unusual clothes, but not modern. And I was by myself, and I saw that plainly. Not long after that, I was going up the stairs by myself. And again, still had a young son. And the stairs kind of did you went up to a little landing, and then a second set of stairs took you up, and there was a window that looked into the backyard at the top of the first half of the staircase. And I went up the stairs and startled because I thought my son was in the backyard by himself, which he was too little to be outside without an adult. And I'm like, oh, got out the door. I better run down. And then I turned around and he was in the living room behind me.
Oh. Wow.
And what I saw was that same little boy walk through the backyard.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
the same little boy
Wow.
twice.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
that was the first time something like that had happened to me. But there was one more piece to this where I have a very good friend and colleague who is Indonesian and lives in Indonesia. And there's a very different idea of spirits culturally in Indonesia. And it's not, there's a lot more fear, a lot more concern. And she was at our home. We were having an event, and a wonderful woman, loved kids, loved my son. And you remember I said that little staircase area had a powder room.
Okay.
And she came out of the powder room and came into the kitchen and said, I need to talk to you right now. And she pulled me out of the kitchen and she said, right at the bottom of the stairs, she said, this whole area is not safe for your son. There are ghosts all through here.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, no matter what, you always have to
wow.
leave a light on in this space. And in her belief, leaving the light on is enough to keep the area safe and prevent anything from happening. Now, I had not said a word to her.
Wow.
She knew nothing. None of us talked to
Wow.
her about that. And it was enough that she was sufficiently startled. She was worried for me and my family, and said, I want you to promise me you will leave a light on in this space always.
She was very concerned.
So, okay. All right, I'll do it. So I have no explanation for it. I know, I believe I know what I saw. I don't normally see people walking around unexpectedly.
You don't see dead people? Well, you did this time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you know if there had been a situation in that home? Did you ever
you
find out the lore?
You know, there's a really interesting, I don't know if it happens in other states, but at least in Iowa at the time, we haven't lived there in a long time now, but you would get a written book with your home that everything was recorded for the history of the home. That came with the house.
Really?
It was a
That's
legal
interesting.
document.
That is
It's
interesting.
It's a legal document. And you don't get to keep it. It transfers to the next owner.
Huh.
So the one we had was quite thick. I never read, some of it was just, the transfer of ownership
Right.
stuff, but other things would be notable. We do know there were deaths in the home. I don't know if that ever involved a young boy. But it was an old house, and life happened, so it wasn't a surprise that
Mhm.
someone had died in the home, which was not a problem in my mind. But none of it ever scared me. None of it was a problem. I was happy if we were sharing our home in that way.
So how long were you there after that took place?
Oh, years. Several
Did
years.
your child ever say that he saw him?
No.
That surprises me. Usually children see him too,
Mhm.
like that.
No. And then and my daughter was born, once we lived there, she never mentioned it either. I've asked them since. They don't have any recollection of it.
That is really interesting.
Oh,
See,
that
that's
was unusual.
a paranormal investigator's dream.
What would you
People
say
can
to
see
him?
that.
I mean, how would you go about investigating that?
I think we would go in with our tools. We'd probably,
Mhm.
try to find out what his name was. We'd probably do the history of the house to see if anything happened there. We'd ask him to go to the light. You're going to be safe there. Don't be afraid. Because a lot of times we think that they're just afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So we do mention, go to the light and you'll be okay. And sometimes they just like where they are. Maybe they come and go from dimensions. They're there sometimes they're not. Maybe they just really like the house and they were comfortable there and felt loved and they want to stick around.
Now, when you say you go there with your tools, and there, I'm sure lots of people probably contact you to come and investigate. So you talked about dowsing rods as one tool. What are others that you use?
There's the REM pod.
So you have to explain what those are.
what's
I
a
don't know
REM
what that-
pod?
Yeah, I don't know
So
what that
it's
is.
a device you turn on, and it again, if any energy comes near it, it sets it off.
Okay.
EMF type stuff.
And what's EMF?
Electromagnetic
Frequency.
Okay.
Field
Yeah.
or frequency.
Okay.
frequency.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so if you put your hand over it, it sets it off.
Got
so if you've got it sitting in a room by itself and it goes off, that's kind of odd. Now, can other things set it off? Of course. So you're very conscientious of what's around and your phone and, things like that.
Sure.
So, we're careful with that kind of thing.
Just like the REM pod, we were just at an investigation a couple months ago, but in this one chair, it's a Masonic Lodge, but there is one floor. It's like that thing would just go off and for no reason. We were just trying to get things set up.
Ugh.
And then, but every other floor we took it on,
Nothing.
you didn't hear a thing from it. And I would get if we have our phone, I would put the phone up, try to make sure it wasn't something setting it off. We'd be in another room, like on that same floor. You could hear it beeping over there. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Did you hear anything else? Did you find anything else there?
By a chair.
Yeah, just sitting by a chair, just.
Maybe somebody was sitting in the chair and you were bothering them.
Could be.
Get out of my chair.
Yeah.
So at the Masonic Lodge, it's the Howard County Masonic
County Masonic Lodge.
in Kokomo. And when you get initiated, this is how it happens. You are in this little room. It's like a closet, and there's
It's
a
like a
big
closet.
chair. So we asked if we could pretend like we were being initiated, and they said that would be fine. So you have to put a blindfold on. And
Creepiest thing, man. It's just,
yeah.
Oh, I mean, your
So
senses.
she was in there first. So I got her in there. I'm in another room. We're doing this Estes method where she is listening to.
It's an app we have. It's called Necrophonic app,
Mhm.
which it's almost like radio frequencies and scans.
But it's not
There's
radio.
white noise. It's like
Okay.
it's-
More words.
Yeah, but then it will pick up. Like the spirit should be able to go and connect to that and use that as a tool to speak. So you'll have words that just pop up.
And so she's sitting in that little closet, blindfolded with headphones on, listening to these words that would pop up. I'm in the other room asking questions about the Masonic Lodge and seeing if she's getting any answers, to the questions I'm asking, which is a unique method.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very interesting. I mentioned, what was it, female or lady, or can you say woman or something? And it came up Bridget or Brigit, which means female, which was a little
like
strange.
another term for
Yeah.
Bridget. It's kind of we have cameras rolling in each location. So then when I go back to edit, I'm putting them side by side, and I'm listening, so you could see and hear the overlap of like questions she's asking, or we've reversed them. But there was a few of them that were just, to me, that stood out. That was like, she asked a question and I heard something. It was it's kind of wild.
But when she was in that room, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in the other room. I'm going to shut the door. And she said, what was it? Like the first 5 minutes you were...
It's like, yeah, the first few minutes, I know it heightens your senses when you're blindfolded, but I was sitting in there. I literally almost said, okay, I can't do this, because it was just too much emotion or something that was going on.
And she never does that.
And I'm not that kind to do that, but I was like, okay, I got to give it a little bit more time. But it was the weirdest feeling being in that room. It was just overwhelming.
And you have to think about it too, because you know how much energy is in that room? Think about that, like past energy, because you're getting initiated, you're blindfolded, and you are going to walk with somebody with that blindfold on and go into another room, and there's going to be a huge ceremony, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So that fear is in the walls and the chair. And how old was the building? I mean, how many years have they been?
It was, I think they said I think it was like 1920.
So many, a lot of years.
26. I forget the exact number now.
And then we're in another room. I think it was was it a blue room? Anyway, we're in this great big room. Actually, Linda's somewhere else. And I'm in this room and I hear females talking. And I was like, wait a minute. There's two women that are like 3 flights down. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go see if they said something. I mean, how are you going to hear that all the way up there, right? Because it was loud and it was right over here in this corner. So I go down there. I was like, hey, were you guys talking loud? Were you blah, blah, blah? And they were like, no, we were not. And she has it. It's on recorder. It's on camera.
Yeah, so we had a recorder between floors. There was nothing on that recorder, which you would have picked them up before it would have came up to us on the next floor up. That method was really kind of very interesting.
Now,
I felt like there was a presence the very first 3 minutes. I felt like there's somebody standing right here. That's what got me. I thought, okay, I can't.
Yeah.
And it felt like that kind of went away. Then I was like, okay, I'm okay. It's like, Jane, where are you at?
So how did you find out about that place, that lodge? What attracted you to that place?
Well, I mean, she was actually looking at a lodge in Tipton. And, like we hear places, somebody will say something, someone will come up to us, but we were not able to get that location. Then I had saw, it was on Facebook, an ad for like flashlight tours of this lodge. I thought, well, if they're doing flashlight tours, they're open to, things have happened, they're open to that. So you contacted the owner.
We had some great interviews, so we learned a lot about the building.
Is it still an active lodge?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, the interviews were really good and informed. They gave us a lot of information, and so we could go from there with our questions that we were asking the spirits and things. So,
because like with our stuff, we usually, every time we do an investigation, we try to give, like, we interview people that are there, owners or people that have worked there, to get some kind of a history in the history of the location. So it kind of gives a background to the location and what's gone on and what we're going to be doing, and then tied in with our investigation. So it kind of helps give the viewers a little bit more of a background.
So why do you think these spirits, maybe that's the right, I don't know what's the right term, these beings, what do you think is their reason to want to communicate with you?
That's a really good question.
Like why do they care?
I don't know. I mean, I think sometimes like it could be like just like a residual energy where something's happened at that place, and either you just happen to come through and they want to, talk to somebody, or it could be that they're scared and they don't know what to do. It could be a little bit of different, or I don't know.
How are you able to help them? Are you able to help them?
Because you answer back. I mean, you said you communicate your information to them, or try to, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, as far as helping them, we always let them know that you can cross over, you can go to the light, and you're safe, and you're going to be loved, and you'll be fine. Otherwise, a lot of times they just want to stay because that's where they're comfortable and they want to be there. So, there's not a whole lot of options there. I think, though, that we talked about this, that there are places that people go all the time. Thousands of people go to these places.
Yeah.
Right.
But like at Osgood, we were the first people there, and it was like womp. It was crazy in there. So it was like they wanted to communicate. They're like, oh my gosh, somebody's here and they're wanting to talk to us, and we're going to, make sure they know we're here. And they did.
That's what I always wonder about when I'm scrolling through and, you see some of these shows and you're like, well, they've been there before and that's been done. And do we run out of places? Do you get contacted? How do you get contacted? Have you had a person call you and say, look, I got something going on here. Can you help me?
There were a series of events. Those things happen. There was a lady in Anderson on 8th Street. We knew her through, I don't know, being in Anderson for whatever reason. And she was like, hey, my house is haunted. And we're like, okay, let's go. So she was very willing to see who was there and why they were there. We didn't get any names. It's rare to get a name. But we did have a lot of things that happened.
There's a lot of activity. I mean, sometimes it's kind of interesting when you go to these places, you don't know what to expect sometimes.
Right.
Or you leave there and you're there, you think, okay, I don't know.
Not much happened.
Did we get much or what? But then you come back, you look at the footage and you listen to the EVPs and you're going like, oh my gosh, look at all this evidence. And and then I go through and we both do where we look at the footage. I go through the fine tooth comb. I see something. Okay. Then I go back, I listen to like 5 or 6 different audio tracks. Okay. Could have been this, could have been this. And sometimes we can debunk it and sometimes we can't. There's no answer.
And like on 8th Street, there was this medical device sound.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And after we got done investigating, we asked her, I was like, do you have something like medical devices upstairs or wherever? And she was like, no, there's nothing like that. It was weird.
It sounded
loud.
And then especially this one room, you could hear it was like this, almost like a breathing.
Like a CPAP machine or something?
And it's like, and then all
louder.
You hear this, you hear like this like respirator type thing going off. All of a sudden you hear somebody going, you could hear that. And it's like, I thought, listen to that. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh.
And that would have to be close to our camera or our recorder.
Right.
So you hear that heavy breath.
And she had gone downstairs to get batteries and I thought, okay, she's coming back. So I hear her footsteps coming up the stairs. Jane. It's like, nope, wasn't even nearby. I thought, okay, somebody was on the stairway.
So is she okay now? I mean, is the lady fine living there? Or is she like, okay, well, I guess
she's kind of used to the stuff.
Yeah.
I think she's okay. I don't think there's been any kind of negative energy for her, but.
And she'll tell us, she'll contact us every once in a while. I was like, hey, this happens. Like, oh, cool. And she's like, yeah.
So of your investigations, is it dozens, hundreds? How many have you done
together,
or in total, together or separately?
Well, I've been doing this for like 20 years, so a lot, different places. I would never suggest going anywhere that you are not invited. You don't go into abandoned houses. Very, very bad idea. That's dangerous for so many reasons. So we don't do that. But we've been doing this since 2021, but we both work. So it's, maybe 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Sometimes we hit some cemeteries.
So for the people who find this intriguing, but just are skeptics, can you identify your most compelling experience, either individually or together?
I was going to use that same question as kind of a twist to the most afraid that you'd ever been under that situation.
I'd love to know that too. Yeah.
That's a good question.
It is a really good question.
So,
go ahead.
We don't really get afraid. We get excited. Now, people, again, if there's a situation.
No, you sound a little afraid with the hands going up and down your back.
Right. Yeah. I think that was yours because that had to feel weird, right?
That was really kind of a weird feeling. It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. Every place. It's hard to pick like a favorite place. It's hard to pick one that is like the most compelling evidence, because I think every location is unique in its own way, and every location has something you bring from it, evidence that you get. I don't know. I think they're all kind of, I don't know if there's one I could say really that stands out. I mean,
there was one place, it was the Geyer Opera House. There's a small hall, completely dark. We've got 2 other investigators. We let them investigate this other area, standing there. And I don't usually feel a whole lot of things, but I felt like there was something over there, just over on my right-hand side across the hall. It wasn't a large hall. And I was like, okay, it's fine. They're going to be done here real soon, and it's fine. And it kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I felt like it was going to come over. That was an incredible feeling for me. I was there with my sister at the time. It was many years ago. And she goes, I need to go. And I didn't even say anything to her. I'm like, okay. So we left. But that feeling that one was kind of scary because I felt a little threatened. But there's also a antique shop connected to the building. So there could have been some weird stuff in the antique shop too.
With all of this and all of the experiences you've had, how do you feel about the afterlife, death? Are you afraid?
No.
I know she would say no right off. But I mean, no. I mean, if I had to answer yes or no, I would say no. But I think I've even told her before, there's things in me I am kind of scared sometimes because we don't know. We don't know.
Fear of the unknown, right?
Fear of the unknown. And
I'll get her there.
But you don't think it's fades to black and we're done.
Nope.
No. And that's one thing I know, like in that one show that was the Haunted Discoveries. That's one thing I was saying, like with all the, like, because I would go through like all like the dreams that I had with my family, because there has to be more than this, and this, I know this is a shell. There's more you have your soul. It goes somewhere. It carries on and goes, but you have to have that hope.
Right.
Because if otherwise it's like, I can't think of like how my parents, how they died, how my brother died, and thought, okay, that's it for them. That's how their life ends. I thought it can't be that. And to me, that gives me hope. It makes me not afraid. And for them to come back, that was very comforting for me.
Sure.
And so I don't know, that was good. But
as a scientist, Dr. Rob, how do you feel about that?
About which part?
Death.
Well, here's how I address that topic is, it's true that my academic background, my professional background, heavily focused on science, and I love that and I embrace that. And I think science is absolutely fantastic for explaining certain domains. But when people compare, science and religion, that's the typical debate, or science versus religion. And I'm not suggesting the conversation is all about religion. There's aspects to that. But when people put up that dichotomy, I don't engage in that because I don't believe in it. I don't believe that it's a debate of science versus religion. I think religion addresses an entirely different set of domains for us, for me, for us. And I don't expect religion to explain many of the things that science explains, and I don't expect science to explain many of the things religion explains. So at least to me, it's a far more thoughtful and appropriate way to approach the topic than people who want to say, I believe in only science or only religion. I think that's really limiting. And I don't embrace that. I don't buy into it. That doesn't make sense to me.
You danced around that very well.
I didn't dance around anything. Wait, tell me what you thought I danced around.
No, I'm just kidding.
Come on now.
I'm just kidding you.
Tell me the truth.
That's a great way to answer that question.
Okay, well, then what is the question you really want me to answer?
No, that was a great way to answer that question. So you didn't really answer the question.
I already told you I believe in ghosts. I've seen it.
That's true. You did.
I mean, there's no question for me there. I've seen it. And it's not the only one. If you go back to a year ago, there's a whole nother. There's a whole.
There's a whole nother one.
There's a whole nother one.
Yeah, now we're going to have to make people go back a year and listen to that. Yeah, you go back a year
and listen to that one.
Yeah.
That was a great episode.
Because we're out of time already, believe it or not. Gosh darn it.
But hey, will you tell us one more time where, I know people are going to want to go back and investigate the stuff you have available. So can you run down your platforms you're on again and remind people of the name?
It's Paranormal Incidents. And when you type it in, just put the underscore between them. That's how I kind of differentiated it when I set them up. So we'll pull it out. But we're on like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
We'll put a link to all that.
And we have a website.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, we'll definitely put a link to all of that.
This was a lot of fun.
What a great conversation.
So interesting. I mean, my goodness. I've always been interested in the paranormal anyway. I just think it's a fascinating topic. And with the month of October being what it is and surrounding, and we didn't even get into the creepy witches and all that kind of stuff. And not all witches are creepy. I want to go on record of saying that. They don't all have warts on their nose.
No?
And, yeah. But I really appreciate spending the time and talking to us about, these fascinating things that we can't explain, really. There's no explanation. I mean, it's incredible that you guys are doing the work that you're doing. And I know that Jane and Linda are also involved in something that we may be doing a future podcast on.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for that because we're so fascinated with their work that we can't just let them do one episode and be done. Yeah.
We're talking about a collaboration on a big
story
topic and a place where we would have to travel to do a podcast.
Yeah.
So we're talking about that one. Hopefully.
Yeah. But that scares me and I don't know if I want to do it. Jane, Linda, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it.
That was very
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck in the future. And we can't wait to hear more and see more of your adventures in the paranormal world.
And if you ever want to join us on an investigation.
Oh, I know my girls would love.
Yes, please.
Yes. And we would love for you to join us on our next adventure, wouldn't we?
Right here on Worth Your Time. You can find us on all the major platforms. We post our audio on YouTube and have great video clips on Instagram and TikTok. And don't forget to like us and share and
tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends.
Yes.
We're doing great, but we want to grow our audience, of course.
Of course.
So thank you for listening. We appreciate that. And especially to all the people outside of the U.S. We have lots and lots of listeners outside of the U.S.
Thanks to you. You have a lot of international friends.
Well,
sure.
And we got more now. So we appreciate everybody. Thank you. Like and share.
Yes. And happy Halloween.
You've been listening to Worth Your Time with Dr. Rob Shumaker and Kristi Lee. If you like what you hear, please give a review wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to tell your friends. Word of mouth is the best compliment. Thanks to our producers, Chris Spangle of Leaders and Legends, LLC. You can reach him at leadersandlegends.net. Also, thanks to Sophie Ritz. I'm Christopher Geisen. Thanks for joining us.